Everyone at the countryside clinic thought it would be a normal day until Bella, a retired police canine, was rushed in. Panting in pain, her owner, Officer Grant, believed she was giving birth early. She had shown every sign of pregnancy: the swelling belly, the nesting behavior, the heavy breathing. But when Bella finally delivered, the room fell silent. The vet froze. Grant's jaw dropped. And Bella, trembling, refused to leave the newborn's side, because the tiny creature lying on the blanket was not a puppy. It didn't have fur. It didn't look like any newborn the vet had ever seen. And its condition told a story no one was prepared to face. What had Bella been carrying all this time? Why had her behavior changed weeks before? And how did a retired police dog know something the humans didn't? The truth behind Bella's birth would leave everyone in the room shaken, and bring a mystery from her past roaring back to life. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. The doors of the small countryside clinic burst open as Officer Grant hurried inside, carrying Bella in his arms. The retired police dog, usually strong and steady, was trembling uncontrollably. Her breaths came in short, desperate gasps, and her eyes darted around the room in panic. Grant's voice shook as he called out, "Someone help, she's going into labor." "It's too early." The vet, Dr. Hayes, rushed over immediately. "Lay her here," he instructed, pulling a clean mat onto the floor. As Bella was gently placed down, she let out a low, painful whine, curling protectively around her swollen belly. But something about her posture, something about her distress, felt off. Dr. Hayes frowned, running his hands across her abdomen. The tension, the spasms, the irregular contractions, none of it matched a normal canine labor. "This isn't typical," he murmured under his breath. Bella suddenly shifted, pushing herself closer to Grant, her eyes filled with fear and determination. She wasn't just in pain. She was guarding something. Grant knelt beside her, stroking her head. "It's okay, girl. I'm right here." But deep inside, he sensed the same thing the vet did. This wasn't an ordinary birth. A sudden, sharp cry escaped Bella as another wave of pain rippled through her. Dr. Hayes quickly moved into position, his gloves already on, his voice steady but tense. "Okay, Bella, easy." "You're doing great," he whispered, though confusion flickered behind his eyes. Bella strained once more, and then, with one final push, something slipped onto the white blanket beneath her, but the room fell silent. Dr. Hayes froze mid-motion. Grant leaned forward, expecting to see a tiny, wriggling puppy. Instead, lying on the blanket was a hairless, fragile newborn creature, its skin dark and wrinkled, its limbs thin and trembling. It didn't resemble any puppy they had ever seen. Grant's voice cracked. What is that?" Dr. Hayes didn't answer. He gently lifted the tiny newborn, studying its structure, its breathing, its shape. His eyes widened. "This is not a dog," he whispered. Bella let out a protective growl, as if daring anyone to take the newborn away. Dr. Hayes carried the mysterious newborn to a nearby examination table, moving slowly, almost cautiously. Its tiny chest rose and fell in rapid, uneven breaths. Grant hovered behind him, torn between confusion and fear. Bella, despite her exhaustion, forced herself to stand, her eyes locked on the newborn with fierce protectiveness. "This makes no sense," Dr. Hayes muttered as he checked its vitals. The creature's bones were shaped differently, its ears small and rounded, its body lanky and underdeveloped, not canine at all. He examined Bella next, gently pressing along her abdomen. Her body showed no signs of a recent full-term pregnancy. No milk production. No normal post-birth changes. Grant frowned. But she acted pregnant, nesting, eating more. She wouldn't let me leave her side. Dr. Hayes paused, meeting his eyes. She wasn't pregnant, Grant. Not even close. Grant stared at Bella in disbelief. Bella whined softly and nudged the table, begging them to keep examining the newborn. The vet flipped through past case files, trying to match its features, but nothing came close. Something about this tiny creature, and Bella's desperate need to save it, hinted at a story far bigger than a simple medical emergency. Grant sank onto a nearby stool, running a shaky hand through his hair as memories he hadn't thought about in years came flooding back. "There's something you should know," he murmured. Dr. Hayes looked up from the examination table. "Go on." Bella's last mission before retirement, Grant began, swallowing hard, wasn't a normal operation. "We were tracking a group of poachers deep in the mountains. They were targeting anything they could sell: foxes, wolves, rare birds, even pups." Bella, lying weakly on the blanket, lifted her head as if she understood every word. "We found a den," Grant continued. "The poachers had destroyed it." Bella broke formation, ran straight inside. She dragged out 2 surviving babies. "Not dogs, fox pups." He paused. "She wouldn't leave them." Dr. Hayes's eyes widened as the pieces clicked together. "Grant, this newborn, its features match a wild canine species. Bella must have found it somewhere out there." Grant blinked, stunned. "But she never left the yard." "Not recently." The vet shook his head. "No, she hid it. She fooled you into thinking she was pregnant so she could get help." Grant stared at Bella. She hadn't been preparing to give birth. She'd been protecting a life that wasn't her own. Bella pushed herself up on trembling legs and staggered toward the examination table. Every instinct in her aging body screamed with exhaustion, but she refused to lie down. She pressed her nose against the newborn's tiny form, letting out a soft, pleading whine that cut straight through Grant's chest. Dr. Hayes paused, watching the retired canine's trembling body shield the creature as if it were her own blood. "She won't let us take it," he whispered. Grant knelt beside her, voice breaking. "Bella, you've done enough. You're safe now." But Bella nudged the newborn closer to the vet's hands, then looked up at him, eyes full of desperation, trust, and a mother's silent cry for help. Grant felt tears burn behind his eyes. "She's begging us, Doc. She's begging us to save it." Bella rested her head on the table, panting softly. Waiting for their answer, the newborn was carefully transferred into a warm incubator, its tiny body wrapped in soft cloth. Bella watched every movement, her eyes tracking the vet's hands with unwavering focus. She didn't relax until the machine beeped steadily and the newborn's breathing evened out. Dr. Hayes finally smiled. "It's stabilizing." She saved it just in time. Grant looked down at Bella, pride swelling in his chest. "You're a hero, girl, even in retirement." Over the next days, Bella refused to leave the clinic. She slept beside the incubator, standing guard like she had during her K9 years, when the newborn was transferred to a wildlife rehabilitation center. Grant made a decision. He and Bella would volunteer there. Together. Now, Bella spends her days protecting vulnerable animals, her instincts sharper than ever, a retired police dog who never stopped saving lives.